As I am starting the 4th installment, there are some details of this series that the game will expect you to already understand, which is what this video is all about. I will be explaining everything you need to know beforehand and only what you need to know before we jump in. I'll be splitting this into 3 categories: convenience, the dimensions and world, the goddesses, and the game itself. So let's begin with those dimensions and the world, eh? The Neptunia series takes place across several dimensions, but the primary one is the hyperdimension, where all our main characters reside. In the original non-canon first entry, the game took place in a different dimension called the superdimension, which was never heard from again. In the third game, Victory, Nep stumbled into a new dimension called the ultra dimension, which was a less advanced and less civilized reflection of hyperdimension. Yes, Nep and the gang are dimension hoppers, but this is never intentional. It's always an accident that they end up in another dimension. Hyperdimension only houses one planet that we know of, Game Industry. Yes, that's the name of the planet, Game Industry. And it is divided into 4 continents: Planetune being Neptune's home, Laystation being Noir's home, Louis being the best girl I meet Blanche's home, and Leanbox being Vert's home. Each region have different technological and cultural advancements that set them apart. In each region is a basilicom, a place where meetings can take place between the goddesses, which we'll talk about in a bit, or with the people to the goddesses on an official level. This does not stop them talking with the goddesses on an unofficial level, but for the sake of being a figurehead building, this is the basilicom. The basilicom also acts as a double up for the goddesses' homes. Each region has its mix of fantasy, technology, and standard RPG buildings. They may all live in big cities, but a guild for those wanting a quest still exists alongside more modern businesses such as foods, clothing shops, and the like. Twice before this game was Hyperdimension in jeopardy. In the second game, known as Mark II or Rebirth 2 if you played the Vita remake, the deity of sin was resurrected and threatened the planet. Her human form was called R4. Learn that name. R4 is brought up a lot in the series. R4 is the reoccurring villain in this goddamn series. She always finds a different way of coming back. It's usually a different dimension version of R4. This game will be no exception. Slight spoilers. The other time was an ancient being from Ultra Dimension who destroyed her realm they previously existed in by pure mistake. They returned to the modern day and was corrupted by a troublesome fairy known as Kra, who will also be returning in this game. Both beings were eventually defeated by the goddesses, but let's get on to those goddesses, shall we? There are 4 goddesses in the world, but the goddess name itself usually is different. That being CPU. No, not a computer. CPU is the Hyperdimension Neptunia series' official name of the goddesses. So anytime CPU is mentioned in the storyline, you know it's referring to the goddesses. Neptune is at the bottom of this picture, Noir on the right, Blanche on the left, and Vert at the top. They all may look innocent enough, but they can transform with something known as HDD. You may be noticing a theme with the names here. They activate their HDD to transform into older looking, more mature and certainly more powerful beings, but they can only do so if they are fully supported by their respective nations. This support is transferred into something called share energy, or just shares for short. If they are lacking shares, they cannot transform and are much weaker for it. Many have tried before to make artificial share energy, but with no success. With the exception of Vert, every CPU has a younger sibling called a CPU candidate. Neptune has a younger sister called Nepgear, Noir has Uni, and Blanche has twin little sisters Rom and Ram. Each region also has what is basically a manager when the goddesses are away. However, in the story, only one of them is relevant, so only one will be talked about, that being Histoire, who manages Planetune when Neptune either can't or just can't be bothered. Lastly, and what might be most important to whether or not you decide to watch this Let's Play or not, the game is a visual novel. This means there'll be a lot of text box cutscenes with a lot of talking and a lot of reading, so I probably won't be talking as much as I usually do, as I'll be reading a lot. I don't expect this to be everyone's cup of tea, but I hope you will enjoy this anyways. It's a bit of a different adventure, but I love this series to death, as you probably might have already been able to tell. But I'll try and start it up as soon as I can, but I've still got some little editing and preparations to do. But until then, you guys take care now, and I'll see you at that starting line very soon.